Hello beautiful people, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Lexi, and in today's video I am going to be discussing with you guys books that I will not read ever in my life. I do want to put an asterisk by will not because there are some situations where I might read these books, but as of right now I definitely don't have any plans to read them of my own volition, nor do I think I ever will. So that is kind of why I want to make this video, because it's okay to have opinions on books that you don't want to read, and these are some of those books that I don't want to read. Also, apologies for the cat being noisy, as she always is. We love her, it's a part of life. She must have an itch. Moving right along, I believe I have 6 books for you guys to discuss that I will not be reading anytime soon or ever, hopefully. But some of them are a series, so 6 asterisk, I guess, but you get the point. Without any further ado, let's hop right into the discussion. Now, the first set of books that I will never read is the Twilight series by Stephanie Meyer. I've heard they're terrible books. I've heard they're terrible movies. I've never seen or read any of them, and I don't plan to. Not only because they're terrible and I feel like it would be a massive waste of my time, but the vampire werewolf genre is not one that I'm particularly over fond of. I don't mind reading about it. I think it's done pretty well in the Mortal Instruments world universe, but I don't think I would enjoy reading a book that's solely based around it. It's not necessarily something I grew up with because my mother was very anti werewolves and vampires and all of that fun stuff. So it just wasn't something I grew up around, so I guess I never developed a taste for it. But now I don't think I would enjoy it. It doesn't sound like something I want to do. I have things that I would much rather be reading. So I do not have any intention whatsoever of reading the Twilight series. Kind of along a similar vein is The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins, I believe is the author. I could be wrong on that. I don't know, and I don't particularly care all that much because, again, it's not something that I particularly want to read. I have seen the first movie and it wasn't bad, and it's not that I'm like particularly against the premise of the Hunger Games books. It's just, again, they don't sound like they would be entertaining to me. I don't know that I would enjoy reading them very much. It's something that I would read maybe if someone really asked me to, that I really cared about and why they asked me to, but I don't plan on reading them of my own volition. I don't want to. I think that there are things I could much rather read that I would enjoy so much more and that I could spend my money on. And yeah, I mean, I might watch the movies on this one. I don't plan to watch the Twilight movies, but I might watch these movies, but I don't plan on reading the books, and that's a terrible reader thing of me to say, but I just don't want to. It's not my vibe. I don't rock with it, so we're not gonna do that. Moving right along, again, another series that I will not read in any capacity ever. I don't care who asked me to read this series, I will not, is the Betrothed series by Kiara Cass. I read the first book and I hated every second of it. It was terrible, it was awful, and I know there's more books now, at least one more, and I will not read it. I will not invest in it. I will not even look at it. Absolutely not. The first one is probably one of the worst books that I've ever read in my entire life, and I hated it so much. My cat is being an absolute crackhead, and I am so sorry if you can hear this. It was bad. I will not be reading the rest of it. I do not want to. I do not plan to. I absolutely will not. I don't care if someone gives me the book and tells me to read it. I will not. It's not gonna happen. I would be miserable. I hated the first book. It was so bland and monotone and not interesting, and then the whole plot of the book was subverted at the end anyway, and it was a mess, and I hated it. I will not touch the rest of that series with a 10-foot pole. Absolutely not. The next set of books, again, that I will not be reading, we are moving very fast today, is the Furyborn trilogy, I believe. Again, I have read the first book of this series, and I actually didn't hate the first book of the series, but I kind of realized that the first book told you exactly how the series was gonna end. And reading the second book, I was like, reading the first book, I was like, okay, maybe it won't end like this, but then reading the second book, I was like, no, it definitely will, so I don't really see the point in reading the rest of the series, and I just got bored super quick. It wasn't, I don't know, maybe the second book was just worse, but I did DNF the second one. I don't even own the third one. I don't plan on buying the third one. I don't plan on finishing the series because it was, in fact, spoiled for me. Woo! And it was not spoiled out of any external source. The book itself spoiled the ending, so I don't want to read it. I simply don't. I was kind of like that with Divergent too, where I had the ending spoiled for me by someone else this time, not by the book itself, but I just stopped wanting to read it because I knew exactly what would happen and I didn't like how it ended. Usually if I get a book spoiled for me and I like the ending, I'll read it anyway, but I didn't like how it was spoiled, so I did not finish it, and to this day I still have not read any more than the first 2 books of the Divergent series. And again, I don't really plan on it because I have much better things I could be doing with my life. I do have them on my shelf because my mother read all of them. I guess another point of this video is that it's okay to just have books that you don't want to read. I mean, obviously nobody can read every book that's out there. That's just a futile effort that is going to end in misery. Don't do that to yourself, but also don't feel like there are books that you have to read to be considered a reader or a good reader or whatever you want to think of it as, because everybody's entitled to their own opinion, and if there's a book that's in a genre that you don't like, or that it's got a premise that you don't think you'll like, it's okay to not pick up that book, even if it is like a classic or a staple in the field or whatever. It's okay to not want to read books. I mean, that's why they have the little splash text on the inside of it, or on the back, if it's a paperback, to see if you want to read it or not. And if you don't want to read it, that's okay, no matter how popular the book is, no matter how much hate you get for it. It's okay. And nobody should be hating on you for not wanting to read books, by the way. Don't let people hate on you for not wanting to read books. Everybody is entitled to their choices and their preferences, and that is my TED Talk for the day. This has been a relatively short video, but I do hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to like the video because it's easy, comment because it makes me smile, subscribe to stick around for more content. I do post twice a week, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye, y'all!